All right, welcome back to our penultimate. Now's the penultimate.
Not our
episode.
penultimate.
That's right. Not the double penultimate squared. This is the second last episode, and we'll be talking a little bit, I'm sure, at the end about what's coming after this one. But today we're going to be looking at Obsession. But before we do that, I have a brief PSA that I'd like to put out, and I think Maniac knows where this is going.
Oh yeah, I do.
I just want to say, if you make the effort to go out with friends to a movie, in a theater, in public, with other people, could you please try to be a respectful audience member so that everyone can enjoy the film? And yes, I am talking to you, you ginger that was sitting beside me on Friday night. Anyway, now that that's off my chest.
Unfortunately, I missed that one.
I know.
It's true. It's a very frustrating.
It's really frustrating for like this guy was the worst I've ever seen. He was actually talking like in a normal speaking voice, and he was giving stuff away to the guy sitting beside him. So anyway,
and if you're gonna go see the new Jackass film or something, then kind of like fair enough.
Totally.
But when it's an atmospheric horror film that's predicated on setting the right mood, it's really annoying. Yeah.
I would have been, so I want to go see Scary Movie 6. I would have been fine in Scary Movie 6. It's like, anyway, that's my PSA. Thank you for listening. Okay.
I'm sure none of our listeners do that though.
None of our listeners do that. We are going to get into some quick cuts. So take us away, Maniac.
Okay, you ready for this one?
I don't know if I am.
This is a special one.
Okay.
All right. My quick cut is, should insert a drum roll here, Buffy the Vampire Slayer from 1992.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you probably weren't expecting that.
I wasn't.
So this was directed by Fran Rubel-Kazooie and written by Joss Whedon. And let me just take a moment to highlight the cast of this film. So Christy Swanson as Buffy, Luke Perry from 90210, anyone who's older, maybe 40-ish, will know that reference, as Pike, Donald Sutherland as Merrick.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him.
Rutger Hauer as Lothos, Paul Rubens, a.k.a. Pee Wee Herman.
I forgot all those people were in there.
And we have early appearances from Oscar winner Hilary Swank, David Arquette, and uncredited appearances by Ben Affleck and Seth Green.
Holy smokes. I did not remember that.
It was wild, and neither did I, but watching this again, like, hey, that's Ben Affleck. And
that's actually a pretty good film. I like that film.
It is, and that's, so yeah, here's the synopsis. Okay. So Buffy Summers is a popular California high school cheerleader whose biggest concerns are fashion, friends, and of course, boys. Her life changes when a mysterious mentor named Merrick reveals that she is the latest in a long line of chosen vampire slayers, destined to battle the undead. After reluctantly accepting her fate, Buffy must train to fight vampires and confront the powerful vampire king Lothos before he unleashes terror on the town. This has a 5.7 on IMDb and a 36% critic score, and a slightly more respectable, but still not great, 43% audience score.
There can be only one.
Indeed. So for me, this was like 100% nostalgia play.
Yeah.
This has got to be one of the first horror movies I ever watched. I was in elementary school, kind of alongside Monster Squad.
Oh yeah, that was good too. I like that one.
Yeah, it is. And so I wanted to show my kids a horror film that was appropriate. And this one is actually like, there's not a whole lot of gore. It's kind of goofy, slapstick, almost comedy, maybe more of an action film than a horror film. But anyways, I watched this with both my kids, and it brought back all those like warm, fuzzy feelings from elementary school. And I do think it has redeeming qualities. Now, would I recommend this to like a modern horror viewer who's watching like Talk to Me and Hereditary and be like, hey, go check out Buffy 992? No. But if you're in the mood for like a fun film and you maybe have kids or cousins or, perhaps a girlfriend who just wants something kind of light and fun, I think you could do a lot worse than Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
That's coming from someone who has not watched the TV show. Have you watched the Buffy?
I was just going to ask you. So I did, because one of the podcasts that I've mentioned many times, Evolution of Horror, they did it. I don't know if they did a whole season, but anyway, they talked about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show. I tried watching a season. I could not. I don't know. Maybe you had to see it at a certain age, like we've talked about.
I've also heard the first season is the worst one, and it gets better from there.
See, maybe I just.
So I think you have to. People say you have to kind of like make it through the first season and then
Interesting.
it gets good. But
Okay.
obviously lots of people aren't
Yeah.
going to do that.
Yeah.
But-
Fair enough.
So anyways, Joss Whedon apparently walked off the set of this one as the writer, and he was very frustrated with like studio interference. And then he went and obviously did the TV show. But anyways, if you're looking for a fun, lighthearted, stacked cast, 90s fun action horror comedy, check out Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's my quick cut.
All right, there you go. Well, I don't really have anything to compare.
how do you follow that up?
My quick cut is Mudborn 2025. It is a Taiwanese horror film. 5.7 on IMDb. As of the last time I looked, there were no ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, I'm not sure what that means, but maybe it was a localized thing and there were no like Western critics that reviewed it. I'm not sure, but anyway, there were no Rotten Tomato scores. The director is Mengju Shi. The cast is Yo Yang, Cecilia Choi, and Derek Chang. So a video game designer's will is tested when a mysterious spirit infiltrates his new family and threatens the life of his expectant wife. I would say this is decent. The 5.7 I think says it all. It's not over the top crazy good, but it's a solid. It's a solid watch.
Mine was also a 5.7.
There you go. See,
Yeah.
so I think it does some things really well. And if you like, it's folk sort of supernatural horror, just shy of 2 hours. So if you like folk horror and if you like Asian horror, and you haven't, I think this is maybe the first Taiwanese horror film that I've seen.
I'm trying to think.
I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I mean, it doesn't mean that didn't happen. So anyway, I would say yes. Check this out. If you, I think I saw this. It was either Netflix or Prime, one or the other.
Was it like Inscription or
Incantation?
Incantation. Was that Taiwanese?
Oh, good question. I didn't clock that as Taiwanese in my head, but it might be.
I could be wrong. I feel like one of those movies
Maybe.
we watched in the last 10 years was Taiwanese. But yeah.
That was a good one, though. Actually.
Yeah, it was.
All right. So those are taken care of. Now we're moving on to our feature presentation. We're going to have a discussion about Obsession 2026.
Have you ever actually like flirted with Nikki?
I'm gonna go get some shots.
I'll come with you if she means this much to you. And I know she does. To say, Nikki, I think we should grab a drink sometime.
Nikki, wait. I was gonna ask you,
What?
I lost my train of thought.
I
Good night. What else?
Why?
One wish, Willow. You only get one wish. I wish Nikki Freeman loved me more than anyone in the entire world.
It's an hour and 48 minutes, rated R. It's psycho thriller, horror, supernatural, erotic is what they put on there. IMDb has it as an 8.2. Rotten Tomatoes is 95 and 94 the last time I checked. Curry Barker is the first time 20-year-old. No, he's not 20. I'm
26.
26.
I think the back room guy's 20.
Yeah, there you go. Curry Barker. Anyway, he made shorts, which you can probably speak to later. The cast is Michael Johnson as Bear, Indy Navarrete, and I did check that. That's how she pronounces her own name, as Nikki, Cooper Tomlinson as Ian, and Megan Lawless as Sarah. So after making a wish to win his crush's heart, a hopeless romantic finds himself getting exactly what he asked for, but soon discovers that some desires come at a dark, sinister price.
Indeed.
So the critics have called this fresh and exhilarating. They've said it takes an icky conceit and twists it to deviously crowd-pleasing ends. Obsession is dauntingly disturbing while also skillfully amusing and thrilling. And one critical review called this the fatal attraction for Gen Z.
I like that.
So we can get into that later. That was Michael Morano from the Arts Fuse. So just before we get into questions, you're probably familiar. I just want to talk a little bit about Curry Barker's inspirations. So he actually, some of the scenes in this film, he took inspiration from the ugly crying scenes in Midsommar. He definitely was influenced by the Simpsons Monkey Paw episode. And he also cites Ty West's Pearl as an inspiration.
Hence why I wore the shirt today.
There you go. Very good. Anyway, I'll get into some of the other stuff later.
I read that as well about the Simpsons Monkey Paw. Now, when I was a kid, my parents wouldn't let me watch The Simpsons, so I missed out on The Simpsons. Have you seen that episode? Okay. So it's a good one?
Well, I love The Simpsons. So,
okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a good one. I think that was on one of the Halloween of horror or something.
Oh, yeah. I have it written down here somewhere.
Yeah. So what was your first impression? Did you go into this knowing very little, or did you have a kind of concept of what was going on?
Right. So if you go back to the beginning of the season when we did our most anticipated, our top 10, this was my number one most anticipated film in 2026. So on the one hand, I was very excited for it. I very purposefully didn't really watch any trailers. I closed my eyes when I was in the theater anytime it popped up, but I knew the buzz from like the film festivals that this was like kind of a special film. So on the one hand, I did go in with high expectations, but I also went in trying to know as little as possible. Yeah. And that being said, it definitely delivered, and I would say even maybe exceeded. And for sure, this will be in my top 10 of 2026.
100% for me too.
And I think this is the best film period of 2026 I've seen so far.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would
so
agree.
it was great. How about yourself?
Yeah, I think the same. I mean, I don't know if I had... I don't know if I was conscious of the buzz, but of course I was hearing and reading a little bit. And then same thing, I tried consciously not to watch too much in terms of trailers or reviews or anything until after I'd seen it. And then of course I went back and watched a little bit of his short film stuff, Milk and Cereal. I watched a little bit of. So yeah, I mean, it definitely outperformed, I would think, my expectations. And I saw it for a second time this past Friday.
So we've both seen this twice in theaters, which never happens for me.
Yeah, no, me neither. I mean, I often will rewatch it at home, but never go back and see it in theaters. Although it was a terrible experience, but I'm glad I went to see it a second time.
So the first time I went alone, and my second time, we do this grad trip every year with the grade 12s, and we take them to Vancouver and like spend the day doing fun things. So a lot of the kids were like, yeah, I'm going to go see Obsession. I was like, okay, don't see it. Wait. And we'll go see it on the grad trip. So I ended up seeing this with like 21 grade 12 students. And that was really fun because I sat behind them on purpose so I could watch them react. But one girl had a very strong reaction to the point that she was like in tears at the end of it, like traumatized. Wow. She had never seen a horror film before. But then other kids were like, yep, that wasn't scary at all. I had no impact. And one of the students who's a really big cinephile said, it wasn't as scary as I thought it would be, but it was a much better film than I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's a fair comment, I think.
And I don't know, like I've tried, like people are like, is it scary? Is it scary? And it's kind of hard to, would you call it scary or would you call it like unsettling? Like it's kind of hard to put my finger on what it is that, it's very unique that way.
Yeah, I would not call it scary. I would call it unsettling and disturbing.
Yes, okay.
And so to me, disturbing takes you into the territory of fear, but it's not scare as we would normally understand it, like a jump scare or it's just if you've seen either one of the Smile films, I would say those are very similar in the sense of some of the scenes and some of the way they film things. It's disturbing to watch.
Yes,
and I found this one quite disturbing.
And when we get into the spoilers, he has a very eclectic mix of horror elements and scares. He doesn't rely on one technique. He actually has a pretty broad menu of options that he utilizes, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's why I think that idea of it being sort of fresh. I think the critics nailed that because this isn't. It's kind of like when Hereditary came out. I'd not seen anything like that.
That's right.
And this film reminds me of that in the sense of the feeling that I got when I watched. It's like, wow, I don't remember seeing anything like this.
And yet it's unique because like we've seen now like some of those like dread horror movies or trauma-based horror movies where it's just like really, really dark, depressing subject matter. And it's not quite that either, though it borrows a few things from
Yeah, there's definitely some trauma in this one. But
for sure,
I know what you're saying.
But I think it's such a compelling human, like I think anyone will enjoy this movie on some level, if you're uncomfortable with the horror, that makes sense. But I think everyone can relate to the idea of really loving someone or wanting someone and having them not want you back and wishing that were true. And I think that automatically hooks almost anyone who watches
Absolutely.
this film. It's like almost a universal experience.
I would say if you're, let's say, entering puberty onwards, you probably have felt unrequited love. You've had a crush on someone. You've really, felt strong feelings for someone who either, puts you in the friend zone, or maybe you're not even there. Maybe you're even further down the list in the friend zone. So
Unless you're like Chris Hemsworth or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but
maybe never experienced that.
No,
before.
I'm sure he hasn't. Okay, so that's kind of a good, I think, place to jump off into. What were the things that really got you as things that you liked in the film?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you'll say the same, and I think this is universal, but Indy Navarrete performance was like off the charts good. Like
Mia Goth good.
Like Mia Goth good, or Toni Collette good.
Yeah.
And she had said that Mia Goth's Pearl was sort of an inspiration or something that her and Curry Barker watched together. Okay. And you can see some of the parallels there, but she definitely has her own unique take on it.
Yeah.
So that, and then... yeah, I just think, again, like we're going to do non-spoilers at the beginning. So a lot of the things that I liked, I might have to go into a little more specifics, but just the chemistry between her and Bear is also very strong. Like just the characters. I think the reason our last review I really dumped on The Mummy is I felt like it did a terrible job developing characters. Whereas this one takes like I recommended with The Mummy, takes the first half an hour to really kind of play up the characters, so then you care when crazy stuff starts happening to them. So I think the character work is the best, but I think the variety in terms of the horror is a strength as well. How about yourself?
Yeah, I would for sure agree with the character development. And I mean, like we've discussed with many films, I mean, other than the good performances, this also, I think, had a good script. And it took the time, like you say, to develop characters so that you were invested in what happened to some of these characters.
How was your impression seeing it the second time versus the first time? Did you feel like, because it's interesting to see a movie for the second time, especially when it really delivers. Like, what was your experience? Did it live up? Was it better, not as good? Did you notice new things?
No, I definitely, it stood up the second time, and I did notice some other things that maybe I had overlooked just because I was not traumatized, but I was like scared or looking at other things. And it's like, oh, I never noticed that before, which is a really, I mean, that's the beauty of watching something a second time or a third time or a 10th time, is that if you can still pull things out of a film like 5 or 6 viewings later, I think it's outstanding.
And how would you rank this one with like the best of the last 10 years, like compared to like a Substance or Talk to Me or Nosferatu? Or
I think it holds its own, but it's a very different kind of film.
Do you feel like this though will be like,
I think so,
on lists for years to come? Like a decade from now, will people look back and be like, oh yeah, like Obsession was one of the best movies of the 2020s?
Especially as it, one critic pointed out, I mean, my generation talked about Fatal Attraction for a long time after the film, was current. And I think that's going to be the same for this. You can appeal to a broad audience in terms of, unrequited love kind of thing, but people of a certain age, maybe millennials and Gen Z, this will hit hard for them, I think. Yeah,
the themes are so relatable. Like, many people have experienced unhealthy codependent relationships.
Yeah.
And even though she has a hyperbolic take on some of those things, a lot of the things that she does in the film, I think people do to a more turned down extent.
I mean, it reminded me that the development of this and the codependency reminded me of Together.
Totally.
Because they spend a lot of time at the beginning kind of setting the scene for that codependency later.
Yeah.
But I thought her performance was outstanding. The sound design I thought was really good. And the composer was also a full-time feature film, or first-time feature film composer.
Oh, that's cool.
Rock Burwell is his name. I thought the practicals were good. I don't think there was any, this was, am I remembering this one right? It was filmed less than $1 million.
Yeah, 750,000, I believe, was the budget. And it's made tens of millions.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's rivaling apparently like Star Wars and Grogu. So to have an independent film made by a dude who was making an $800 film on YouTube 2 years ago.
Exactly.
Who is now making just as much money as a Star Wars film. And I think he's slated to do Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's very cool to see somebody kind of pulled, and it's also very cool to see a YouTuber who's made a successful first feature as opposed to other YouTubers who had features this year that maybe didn't live up to our expectations.
Yeah, like it's cool. On the one hand, there's many YouTubers like Markiplier with the Iron Lung, and the Backrooms was made by a YouTuber. The Talk to Me guy, Filippo brothers are from YouTube, and of course, what's his name? Shelby Oaks.
Chris
Stuckman, which ironically of all those ones was my least favorite.
Yeah, you've been Stuckmanized. I thought, there were some good scares. I really liked the opening. I liked how they framed the opening with Bear having this conversation, and then they take you out of the moment because it's a rehearsal. He's like, pretending to have this conversation with somebody else.
Did they trick you?
They did.
Yeah, me too.
Because the way they frame it, you can't see the person that he's talking to.
It's
and
just a monologue.
You think that it's, he's either practicing by himself or he's actually talking to the person you think he's talking to.
And even then, like, they talk for a while, and then it still takes a while for you to realize, like, it's not a friend. It's just like the waitress.
Totally. Awesome. It was so good. There's some really good set pieces, I thought. I really liked that little bit of humor with the two shop clerks. There was a female when he first comes in, and then the male shop clerk. And I don't think it's
where it drove me nuts. That guy looked so familiar to me.
Oh, the shop clerk?
The shop clerk, the guy, and I couldn't put my finger on where. I should look it up. But.
Did you notice the name of the store?
Maybe not.
The Green Man.
Oh, I did actually notice that from Men.
So there you go. There's my Green Man tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that was pretty funny. I just think they were total dicks messing with his head when he's in the store. And I think the male guy's like, hey man, you can't bring that energy in here. Like,
and there's a line where like she's saying something and he thinks she's talking to him, but she's actually on the phone like with an earpiece or something.
That was awesome actually, because I've actually experienced that where I thought someone was talking to me and then I noticed they have an earbud in or whatever. So that was really good.
So obviously we're both glowing about the film.
Yeah.
Is there anything that any critiques or nitpicks or things that you didn't appreciate?
Actually, you know what? I was going over my notes today and I've got this big blank space where the dislikes are. I could not think of something that I would have changed or I thought, oh, this kind of took me out of it or anything.
Right.
What about yourself?
I do have a few,
yeah?
But they might be spoilers. So I don't know. Maybe I should bring them up afterwards. I'll bring them up, I think, in the spoiler section just because they are spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
but they're nitpicks. They're minor things.
I have a long list of spoilers actually because it's like so many of these films that we always say is like so hard to discuss the film. We want to be respectful of your time and not spoil anything for you. That's why we do a spoiler section. But this one's really difficult because the concept of the film is basically two characters and how their relationship develops over time.
Yeah.
Like I've got a ton of stuff.
Should we maybe just head into spoilers then? Although actually one technical thing I heard people say, did you find it too dark? Not thematically dark, but actually like too dark, hard to see at times?
Yeah, there were scenes, I'm thinking particularly of the bedroom scene.
Yeah.
That although the second time around, because I knew it was there and I looked for it, it wasn't as dark as I thought it was. But the first time I missed it. And I was really like squinting to kind of see where is that coming from?
Yeah, I think that would have been a stronger scene if it was just a little bit brighter.
Tiny, yeah.
Like there's reels on Instagram and stuff where people have really brightened that scene up, which is too much. But I think, the scene would have been just a little bit more effective.
Yeah.
Because like you, I was almost struggling and squinting and I could still barely see. In the second viewing, I could see a little bit better, but I wonder if it was just too dark at times.
Yeah, I mean, that's I think generally it's decently lit, but that scene in particular, I did struggle to see some of the things that were going on.
Yeah.
But I do think...
Yeah, let's just get into spoilers, I think.
Let's do it. Okay. Spoilers,
oh, wait.
Oh, but
do you recommend the film?
100% recommend. Go see it. Turn us off, go see it, and then come back.
Yeah, it's one of the best horror films last decade. It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, spoilers.
Okay. Spoiler alert. Oh man, there's so much to talk
Well, here, I'll
about.
get to my nitpicks.
Yeah, okay, get your nitpicks.
Okay, so these are small. I didn't love the duct tape scene. The duct tape just seemed a little bit too much. Like, it just seemed a bit ridiculous. I wanted it to feel, it felt so grounded and
Right.
dark, and that almost kind of just made you chuckle, or it looked so over the top ridiculous.
Yeah.
The idea that she would have sat there with like 10 rolls of duct tape and him pulling on the door, that took me out of it a little bit.
Okay. I can
Did you
see
have
it.
that reaction or no?
I didn't. I mean, I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And it didn't take me out of it, but I totally hear what you're saying about who's got that many rolls of duct tape? I mean, we've
Yeah.
all got some, but not that much.
It would probably take her like a month to put up that much duct tape.
Yeah. I mean, it did establish kind of what was happening with Nikki, which I thought was a plus, but yeah, it was a little over the top.
Over the top.
for sure.
And then in a similar vein, at the end when Ian, is it Ian? The friend?
Yes.
Yeah. Wishes for $1 billion, and then money just starts like
Yeah.
raining down from again, that kind of took me out a little bit. I kind of appreciated that the film for the most part did feel very grounded. And so those just, I don't know, again, it just kind of took me out of it a little
Yeah.
bit. And then the third one, which is maybe somewhat similar, the idea of a one wish willow thing that you just buy at like a store and there's a bunch of them. I was hoping for like a little more mystique or a little more like demonic energy from whatever it was that was granting the wish. The idea that it's just some cheap thing that you go buy in a store was maybe a little shallow, or I was hoping for something that had a little more gravitas to it in terms of having the power to grant a wish. How did that affect you at all?
No, that didn't. And partly because the first thing that came into my mind was Tom Hanks' Big.
Yeah.
And the idea that Zoltar or Zoltan or whatever the thing's name was, that was the same kind of thing. It was a cheap carnival trick.
It's a good comparison.
The other thing that I noticed or that I listened to was an interview with Barker, and he said he deliberately did not want to have a backstory for that, lore or whatever, just because it was like, take it as it is. I mean, I thought it was cool too. I don't know if you came across this. His mom's a graphic designer, and they created those boxes.
I did see that,
which
yeah.
was really cool. He said they went through like a dozen or more, versions of the box before they hit on the right one.
And I did like the scene where he was looking it up on the internet, like,
Yes.
one wish willows, are these true? And reading like the Reddit posts about it.
Yeah, which was really good.
Which was cool. But those were my only nitpicks.
Yeah, I didn't have any nitpicks. I really liked how the death of the cat foreshadows the ending.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of like bookended almost.
Yeah.
Not exactly beginning and end, but there's kind of a resolution. Nikki making lunch out of his dead cat was just like, oh my God, that was so horrible. And it again, Fatal Attraction, cooking the bunny.
I wonder if he used that as inspiration at all.
Yeah, he didn't mention it.
No.
But who knows, right? I mean, there's some iconic scenes in that one for sure.
Yeah, I didn't draw that parallel, but you're totally right. Yeah, the bunny scene and then the cat in this one is similar. Yeah.
Did you notice, and I noticed it more the second time, when Bear is waking up, it's 3:45 every time. And
I didn't notice that.
3 a.m. is the witching hour. It's called the devil's hour. It's not the witching hour, but I thought that was kind of cool. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, one thing I noticed on the second viewing, which I thought was cool, there's the night where she's like going crazy and watching him, and he's really disturbed. And he wakes up in the morning, and she's on the couch reading a book.
Yeah.
And then I noticed it's very subtle, but when she like lowers the book, the cover is upside down.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
So she wasn't actually reading a book. She's just there for show. But just that tiny little detail, I was like, oh, that's really clever.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. And I didn't catch it the first time. So I thought that
is
was like, I just kind of gave it a little shivers, like, ooh, that's kind of creepy.
I actually, as part of her performance, one of the things that I found disturbing was that idea that the real Nikki was still in there somewhere.
That's one of the creepiest parts, I think.
Yeah, it's like, so we're in the spoiler section. The concept of the film is the monkey's paw, right? Be careful what you wish for. So Bear is hopelessly in love with Nikki, and he gets this one wish, Willow, and he makes the wish that she would love him more than anyone else in the world. So that creates this obsession that Nikki has with Bear, and just the idea of it kind of creates. It's kind of like Pet Sematary, or if you read The Monkey's Paw, things come back. They're changed because they've been dead. Now they're alive. Now Nikki doesn't go through that, but it's not Nikki. It's something different that's fallen in love with Bear.
Totally.
And Nikki is in there somewhere. There's one scene in particular where she basically says, "Please kill me. Like, I'm here." But she's sleeping.
And that's kind of what really made the film for me. Like, I found that really creepy, and the idea that like she was trapped in there somewhere.
Yes.
But like the thing that was in love with him wasn't her, but it was. But
and
she's still in there somewhere.
I got the sense that she was conscious of the things that were going on.
Yes.
But her reaction at the end of the film made me wonder whether she was conscious of all the things that were going on. Like when at the very end, when she's holding him on the couch.
Yeah. And there was one scene, I think, where he says like, "Is it so bad being with me?"
Yes.
or something. And then she says like, "I haven't been with you."
Yes.
So to me, there was a subtle implication there that she wasn't experiencing what was
There you
happening,
go. Yeah.
perhaps. Yeah. So I wrote down like all the different types of scares in this film, which is what you kind of touched on all of them. So the dead cat on the floor at the beginning kind of gives you like Hereditary vibes of like something close to you dying, like traumatic depression horror. There's gross out horror with the like actually eating the dead cat and her like peeing on the carpet. Body horror. There's a few scenes like when she like stabs herself in the face with a bottle.
Yeah.
Jump scares. You and I discussed this jump scare. The car scene.
Yeah.
Maybe this is bold. I think this competes with Exorcist 3 for perhaps like one of the best jump scares in horror history. Is that hyperbolic, or do you think it's a contender?
I don't think it's hyperbolic because I was tensing. I knew the way they framed that scene that there was something because you could see beyond the car, and I was waiting for it, but it was so well timed and it was so disturbing. I mentioned this to you. I saw that Barker had mentioned he actually had to cut 6 or 7 of the head smashes in this scene. He had to cut them out because they were going to give him an NC-17 rating.
Wow. So his original cut, because she does it quite a few times. So it actually went
further.
Wow.
So
can't wait for the director's cut.
So yeah, that was brutal.
Because Exorcist 3 is kind of known, I think, for having like the best jump scare in horror history in like the hallway. And, we've talked about that. But he also uses negative space. So when she's hiding in the corner and you can't really see her, like some horror movies have done that. There's situational horror, like her screaming at him in the restaurant. And you're so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And she's like and at the party too, where she's making a complete fool of herself and him, kind of embarrassing. It's like situational. And then you have like demonic possession as well. So like that's a long list of a very eclectic mix of like horror techniques. So I appreciate that, there's all those crappy ones that like the studios pump out with just cheap jump scares in the mirror.
Yeah.
And like he's really using the best of the best in terms of,
and he's able to weave them together. Like, I never felt like any of those were out of place.
Not at all.
They all fit the story and they all made sense within the story. And again, if you got a 26-year-old indie filmmaker who can make this kind of film, there's absolutely no reason except greed that big studios can't make these kinds of films.
For sure. And the amount of money he's like, I think it's actually interesting. Like, horror is really dominating a lot of entertainment mediums right now. Like video games is all horror, TV shows, all horror, movies, all horror. I don't know if that's like a reflection of what's going on in the world or if people are just sick of like the Marvelization of everything and this is different, but there's a lot of horror out there right now, which is great for us.
Yeah, totally. I want to talk about the scene with the friends where Nikki goes off the rails because I found that was one of the most interesting scenes to me. And if you're not paying attention to what she's saying, there's a poem that she reads based on Hansel and Gretel.
Hansel and Gretel, yeah.
So I'm just going to read a little bit here. This is one of the critics. She reads a dark, twisted soliloquy in this scene where I think they're playing Jenga or something on the table or whatever. It takes a traditional fairy tale of two abandoned siblings and warps it into an obsessive, gory, and incestuous tale. So she says at one point, Hansel is my soul. Love only the branch of a willow tree could conjure. Brother, you will be inside of me tonight. I did not know this, but one of the willow trees, one of the things that it's symbolic of is grief and mourning.
Oh, interesting.
Which I did not know. And I thought a couple of other things here. By twisting an innocent childhood bond into something gory and unnatural, the poem highlights how the character's twisted desires ultimately consume them. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was just so thoughtful a way to let the audience know how intense, how far the obsession had gone, without like showing us and not telling us. It's
That's
not
right.
a narrative dump. It's not, some kind of fancy trick. It's just her revealing something that on the surface you might go, oh, that's kind of weird. But then when you start thinking about what she's saying, it's quite disturbing.
And that's kind of what makes like a good movie great, I think, is those not beating you over the head with something, but the pieces are there for you to figure it out. And if you pay enough attention, you're thinking as an active viewer, then it's there for you. It's kind of the same thing with the book. Like he could have had an insert shot where he's showing the book. He's like, oh, why are you reading the book upside down? But it's just there. You notice it. Maybe you don't. It's so rewarding when you see it. But I think this is another example of that. And he seems to like weave those things in it. And that makes it fun too, because you can probably go back and watch this movie like 5, 6, 7 times, and every time you watch it, pick up like a cool little detail.
Because having seen it a second time 2-3 days ago, I didn't see the book.
Yeah,
I was looking more at the interaction between them. But that's so cool. Now I want to go back and watch it again.
And that's why I think like Hereditary and Midsommar and stuff are so good, because it's rich filmmaking. Like he just has little Easter egg things hidden all over the place, which is pretty cool.
The one thing, I'm sure we'll be on the same page. The one thing that I also think is very masterful here is that Bear, in my mind, is the undoubted villain.
Yeah, I'm thinking we could have this debate.
Because his wish makes everything else come true. Like everything else happen. I mean, his friend Sarah is not bludgeoned, I guess, but because she's holding a brick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's smashing her head against a brick. And even Nikki says, you asked for this. This is what you wanted. Mm-hmm. You wished for this.
To be fair, though, I don't think he knew that his wish, it was kind of like a little off the cuff.
Yeah.
So I think to call him a villain is maybe a bit strong, because I don't think he had any idea. There was no intent behind. Like it was an innocent, like, oh, I wish this were true.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I mean, and you're right. There's no way to know.
Yeah. The only line where perhaps he crosses into like mindful villainy is when she pleads to him subconsciously that like, kill me. Yeah. And he's like, well, don't you like, what's wrong with being in a relationship with me? And then he's sort of letting his ego get in the way of like helping her, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what I agree with you 100% that he couldn't have known what was going to happen. But as things started to happen, he just, at least my observation is he just kept pawning it off as he was dismissing it and minimizing what was happening because he didn't want to let it go.
Yeah.
He didn't, after he's made the wish, he doesn't want it to go back to the way it was.
Well, he sort of does, because he calls the calls the number. He's like, how do I reverse this? And so he's an interesting character. Like, she's clearly not the villain, despite
everything
the demon
she does.
version of her, I suppose, is. Here's a question. Do you think that she actually liked him back in the beginning, or do you think she didn't? Because that still, I think, is a bit unresolved.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we should point out that she's doing his friend. They're hooking up every once in a while. I don't know. I mean, it's a really, like, how he establishes their friendship at the beginning. It's a very deep friendship. Like, she says to him, I can't talk to anybody else about this except you.
And it's not a one way. Like, she's calling him and wants him to come out to the trivia night.
Yeah.
She has that line in the car where she says, if I have a crush on someone, they'll never know.
Yeah.
So that implies that even if she did like him, that she wouldn't let it on. And then when she comes back to the car and says like,
yes,
do you have a crush on me? Like, would you do that? If you didn't like him, you would think you'd just be glad to be out of the car and wouldn't want the awkward. Like, was she almost giving him a softball?
Giving him the opportunity to say what he needed to say without the wish.
That's right. And he, of course, fumbles it.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if perhaps she actually did like him and he just fumbled it. Or do you think it was just he's in the friend zone?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you've got some good points there about how she behaves, particularly in that car ride near the beginning. I got the sense that I think it's Sarah maybe that mentions this later, that she like loves him like a brother. But she doesn't love him romantically the way he loves her.
Yeah. And she knows that Sarah actually has a crush on him. And we see that later in the film.
And it seems to me that Nikki is trying to get Bear to recognize Sarah because she's got a crush on him.
Right.
And I don't know if you've ever been in that situation where you know, kind of like that Peter Gabriel song, Games Without Frontiers, where, you've got a crush on this person, but they've got a crush on that person. Right. And it just keeps kind of going
and maybe
around.
She does like him, but she feels awkward because Sarah likes him and they're friends.
Yeah, and they're all working in the same place.
But that's so real because I can think of so many times in my life where friends were in that situation or I was in that situation.
Yeah.
And these weird love triangles and it's all awkward. And you start as a group of friends and then it's like, oh, but now we like each other.
That's right.
How are we going to navigate this?
Yeah.
So the film hits on like a human level.
Oh, absolutely.
In so many different ways. Yeah. So you would say he's more the villain though. Oh,
in my mind, yeah, he is.
Yeah. Or is it villainless?
No, I strongly believe he's the villain. And again, he does choose to commit suicide in the end.
That's right.
Now, did you read that actually that was the actor's decision to do that? Barker had him take pills, but that's not how the film was going to resolve. And
I heard that at one point they considered her killing herself as well.
Yeah.
And then she decided not to, or he decided not to.
Yeah.
Is that what you're referring to?
No, the scene where he goes in the bathroom and he's taking sleeping pills or whatever it is. It wasn't supposed to resolve. He was supposed to actually, when he puts his fingers down his throat, he was supposed to actually throw up.
Oh, okay.
And then it was the actor's idea, who plays Bear, who said, no, I think he should die.
Oh, interesting.
Like at this point.
Because that would have played out very differently had he actually.
100%.
Interesting. So then, because she makes the wish that he would have the same feeling towards her, right? When he's in the bathroom.
Does she break the...
Yeah.
Oh, see, I totally missed that.
So when he's in the bathroom, the demon version snaps and you see the wish thing is made. And that's why she is so upset that he is dead.
Right.
But then when he dies, then her curse breaks. So then she like snaps back to reality. But in that moment, had he not killed himself, in theory, they should have both loved each other equally because she snaps one of the one wish willows.
That's that makes the ending even more tragic, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and it very much reminded me of Romeo and Juliet, right? I mean, and I think purposefully.
And there's that really important line in the car, if you recall, she's telling him about a story or something, and she says, it's not a romance, it's a love story.
Yeah, and he
says, what's the difference?
Yeah.
But of course, this film is a love story.
Yes.
It's not a romance.
Yes.
And that's where I thought the Romeo and Juliet thing is a romance, but this is not. Or like you have the same situation as it's very similar to Romeo and Juliet, but in this case, the romance is in there.
Totally.
But it's a love story.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a cool theme for the film that they kind of weave throughout.
It's so thoughtful to me. Like
for a 26-year-old. Yeah.
It's
like second film.
You can't make that stuff accidentally. It's not like, oh, that's kind of like, he's obviously thinking through, and he's existing on this level up here where he knows what themes he wants to bring out, like the codependency and the love versus romance and all those kind of, because I think she does love him. And I think it's a strong bond. It's just not how he wants her to love him.
That's right. And I guess, I don't know if you and I saw the same interview because I think we're referencing some of the same things, but he had warned her that like never to get mad, like for it to turn into rage. because so many times in these types of films, we would say it'd be so easy for her to like
yes.
get really angry and start murdering things and like turn it into. He's like, no, it's like whininess. Like,
yes,
take the whininess to the 11th degree. And I think that's what made this film so unique. Is she doesn't get angry at him.
Yeah,
she just takes the manipulation and the like. I don't know, with like gaslighting or I don't know what it is, but she manipulates him so much that's the extreme emotion that we never see in horror, because it often translates into rage.
Yes.
Like she's going to then, like Kathy Bates, like
totally
in Misery.
Yeah,
like, okay, I can't have you. I'm obsessed with you, but I'm going to like break your leg and kill you. And she doesn't do that.
Yeah.
She just is crazy.
Yeah. And it's so well performed. And the way she's able to switch back and forth, like it's almost like, and I'm not minimizing this at all. It felt like almost like manic depression, because she's, got this manic energy, and then she's got this whiny, and she's flicking back and forth between almost these two personas,
and very much like borderline personality disorder as well, which we see in Fatal Attraction. So
yeah, exactly right.
Now I had a proud moment when they're, to go back to that scene when they're sitting around with the Jenga blocks.
Yeah.
So when he drew the block, I said out loud, it's going to say like, yeah, you have to kiss the person on your left.
Because Sarah was sitting to his left.
And then he says, oh, I have to kiss the person to my left. I was like, oh yeah. And that created like, again, like a super awkward, uncomfortable. Yeah. She gets over and drags her chair and sits down. And then what she says, she goes on like how much she'll love him forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh, it's just kidding, guys. It's like, no, I wasn't. All right, screw you all. Like it was just so good. So if you had to bet money, is she going to win an Oscar then?
No.
They won't.
I think she's too young, and it's a genre that they won't honor.
See, I had a little bit of hope with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
For Sinners.
Yeah.
It's like,
fair.
okay, maybe horror's maybe starting to get a little bit of play.
I just wonder if that's a male versus female thing too.
Could be.
Right? Because Hollywood's a bit of an old boys network.
Yep.
Not that this is a Hollywood studio film, but the people who are voting are old boy network kind of types.
And it sounds like, I was glad to hear there was a lot of backlash to Toni Collette not getting the Oscar for Hereditary. Yeah. So maybe they learned their lesson. But.
I mean, I would hope, because I do understand the idea of, okay, and I don't know what her filmography is like. I don't know if she's done commercials and other feature films or whatever, but let's say, because I'm guessing this
is TV, like a Superman show, I think.
Yeah. So I think this is maybe her first feature.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like Mia Goth, right? It's like
true.
To have those chops that young.
And Mia Goth was amazing in Pearl. I don't think she was nominated. No.
Was she nominated for any of those roles?
For Oscars? I don't recall.
I don't think so. And I mean, she was, I thought, incredible too in Infinity Pool. Mm-hmm. And she wasn't, I don't think she was nominated for anything there.
No.
It just doesn't seem, I mean, we've mentioned this many times. It doesn't seem like the establishment recognizes quality horror films, because they're not big studio films like The Omen, The Exorcist, Silence of the Lambs. Those were big budget studio films with big name actors.
Yeah.
And again, because of the democratization of technology, you can have now these indie films that rival a Hollywood film, but you could never do that.
We almost need a democratized awards that's like made by YouTubers or something.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly. No, for sure. Now, did you notice? Now, I think I only noticed this because one of my primary hobbies is board games.
Yes.
But every scene in this film, there's board games like on the tables, on the shelves.
Oh, I didn't notice
repeatedly. And I was like, oh, like I noticed it earlier. And I kept noticing, like, there's deliberately board games in like every scene. So I went and looked that up and like, yep, sure enough, people are like really curious about why there's board games. And apparently one theory is that like he is trying to play relationships like a board game where like she is kind of the prize to win the game.
Right.
And that's why he's doing like rehearsals and practice and strategy and trying to come up with all these like, okay, I'll get her in the car and then I'll like it then and I'll get her the gift, the crystal necklace and stuff. Like all these things he's doing are arguably, I mean, everyone does it. But it's like a strategic play to try and win the prize. So I thought, oh, that's super cool too. Like
Is he a gamer then, Barker?
Well, I looked that up. I'm like, okay, is he a board gamer? And that's
Yeah.
where that's coming from. And no one could find evidence that he has said that, which was my initial theory that maybe he just liked board games.
Yeah.
But it sounds like maybe more people think it's like a metaphor for how he manipulates people like a board game. So
I mean, that's super cool because there's another level of symbolism and metaphor in the film.
Yeah.
And that operates on so many levels already.
So when you watch it a third time, keep an eye out.
Yeah,
for the board games
totally.
yeah.
I mean, I did you like Ian as a character? I thought he was
No.
such a dick.
Yeah, he is a dick. And when you realize that like he's actually sleeping with her
Yeah.
at the same time that he's coaching him.
Totally.
Like,
It does make sense though, because the first time I watched it, that scene in the diner, and he's saying, Nikki would not like that. And I thought, how can you be so sure that you know her
That's
taste? And then later it's like, oh, okay, because you're, doing her on the side.
And is he giving him bad advice on purpose, do you think? So it blows up? When he's like, oh yeah, just say the dirty Nikki thing. And then he does the dirty Nikki thing. It's like, I hate that. So his instinct was correct.
Yeah.
But he took his friend's advice, which got him in hot water.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I do think there's an element of that.
Like sabotage.
Yeah.
Yeah, the social dynamics are so interesting too. Because the first time I watched the movie, I was so focused on his relationship with Nikki, I didn't even really notice the Sarah character. I thought she was just like there.
Yeah.
But the second time I watched it, knowing that she had a crush on him, there's so many signs that she likes him, which I didn't notice those the first time watching it. So even like the layers of the friendships and all their different relationships with each other is quite rich when you pay attention to it.
And I mean, I'm sure I've been guilty of this in my lifetime, and like many of us have. But I did think, I thought Bear was, when Sarah's saying to him, like she's got a disappointing letter, and they lean their heads on one another.
Yeah,
him knowing how she feels about him, that takes on new meaning than just your friends hanging out. So, and I mean, I guess she wouldn't know that he knew. But I just felt like that was.
Does Nikki do that to him as well, to some extent? Then?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There is a bit of manipulation and ego there, I think, because you're in a position of power.
Yeah.
When someone has a crush on you or likes you or whatever, and you're doing those things that bring you close together, but you have no intention of following that up.
That's right. You like the ego stroke of like, oh, this person likes me, but still, when push comes to shove, like I wouldn't date the person.
Yeah.
So I think, though I think he's the villain ultimately, I do think that he's maybe pointing out the problematic nature of both sides of that equation.
Yes. Yeah. Did you anticipate the demise of Ian?
No, I guess I didn't.
That was
It
so
kinda came out of nowhere.
out of the blue.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a jump scare, but it did kind of throw me back. It was like, holy shit. Like, she was about to, she was contemplating her own suicide, and Ian comes in and she shoots him.
Yeah, because the kill count for this film is very low.
Yes.
It's more psychologically disturbing.
Oh, absolutely.
And apparently Curry Barker's like, I didn't want it to turn into like a slasher film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which it could
easily have become.
done.
Yeah. If you took that demon possession idea to the next level,
right.
It could have been a slasher easily. But I like how he mostly stayed focused on the main two characters.
Yeah. And I know you'll appreciate this. There's no plans for an Obsession 2.
Woo!
Though he said he wants to do a TV series based on the idea of every episode being like a wish that goes wrong.
Yes.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
Because I like that idea. And that doesn't get a whole lot of like that horror trope you don't see a lot of.
Almost
but
like
you could have so much fun with it.
Yeah, totally. It's almost like a Twilight Zone kind of thing, right? That would be very interesting.
Because I'd be okay with a sequel that was maybe a One Wish Willow.
Right.
In a totally different characters, different scenario, different wish, different outcome. Like I could get behind that, but I wouldn't want Obsession 2 and then we see Nikki like 10 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
Into
In
some
therapy,
other relation. Like that would be bullshit. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I hope. I mean,
but he seems to have good instincts. Like I feel like he wouldn't do that.
I'd like to think so. I mean, but I also, because I don't like it when people cast aspersions like on a band. Oh, you sold out. It's like, well, I'm sorry. If somebody offered you a big chunk of money, I might compromise my values too, right? So I don't blame young directors, first-time directors or indie directors who get offered this pot of money to do a different film. But the challenge is that pot of money comes with a lot of people telling you how and what to do.
For sure.
Right?
I wonder if you'll end up with like, instead of like Clive Barker, and I'll be like Curry Barker's whatever. Like his name will be the thing that sells the film rather than it being Obsession 2.
Yeah. Kind of like Eli Roth.
Totally. Yeah. Because like him as a person seems to be very much wrapped into the story of this film and its success. So putting his name in front of things might pay off.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to...
I was resisting the urge to make a Lee Cronin mummy joke. But I did anyways.
Your Curry Barker's One Wish Willow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just such a really engaging film that you can enjoy on so many different levels. You know, from the references to like Romeo and Juliet and Hansel and Gretel and all these other things. And then like the baser, I don't know if you feel about this. Sorry, I just had something pop into my mind. It's really creepy when somebody watches somebody else sleep.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
I think that's why it's so unsettling.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, that is not romantic. That is like serial killer creepy.
Yeah. I remember watching one of those serial killer shows as a kid, and it really freaked me out that there was this serial killer guy who would break into people's houses and put raw meat on his head and watch people sleep. Like, I know, so weird, but like that really stuck with me. Like, yeah, that's super creepy. If you woke up in the middle of the night and some dude sitting on the foot of your bed with like a steak on his forehead watching you sleep, it's pretty messed up.
That is pretty messed up.
I know we could keep talking about this film for an hour, I think, but probably want to wrap it up pretty soon. But
yes, we do.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, 100%. Go watch it a few times.
Is this going to be your number one for the year, do you think? Or is there something else that could come out that could?
I don't know. I mean, there are some ones coming up, you know, in the second half of the year. I mean, I am really intrigued by Werewolf.
Werewolf, yeah.
Although the whole December 25th thing really bugs me. Also the new or the newer, no, I guess it's new because it hasn't been released yet. Shoot. What am I trying to say? Evil Dead.
Yeah, Evil Dead Burn.
Yeah.
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Saw 11 could be number one.
Oh, yeah. That could make it up the list. You just never know.
You never know.
Speaking of lists,
yes,
we'd like to invite you to stay with us for one more episode in this season. And our finale for this season, going back a few episodes, we'd pulled some paper out of a hat and we came up with Home Invasion. And that's what we're going to count down are not necessarily the best, but the ones that we thought maybe had an impact on us or are our favorites or whatever. So definitely go out and watch Obsession a few times and definitely come back in a couple of weeks to see our finale on Home Invasion films. And until then,
we'll see you in the aisles.